What up, guys? I hope you're ready for a super motivating podcast. If you're into personal development and you really want to work on yourself, this is probably one of the best podcasts to listen to. I have on the show today Morgan T. Nelson, and he is the millennial mentor. He has created the Dream Out Loud brand, and he has his own Dream Out Loud podcast and sells teaches and educates people on how to start their own high quality podcast, and he runs huge Dream Out Loud events, which really helps people find their vision, purpose, clarity on their mission, and helps people to really start kicking ass. He's based in Queensland and has just been doing some absolutely fantastic things, and his podcast is awesome, so I highly recommend you guys listen to that. All of the links for everything for his art below in the description, so make sure you check him out. Yes, and make sure you put your thinking cap on and get ready to listen to this podcast. Like, get ready for a good charge up. If you're going to the gym or you're having a bad day, or you're heading to work, like, this is probably one of the most motivating podcasts to listen to. We talk about all things in terms of, young entrepreneurship. We talk about finance. We talk about how to find your purpose, and with some really awesome stories and practical tips and how you can actually get there, which is really quite fantastic. I was very thankful to have Morgan come on to the show. So guys, just quickly, I have just released a program, Overcome the Chaos, which is an 8-week program, which is essentially a mental and physical makeover for anyone who really wants to invest in themselves, targeted at business owners, entrepreneurs, people who really have high ambitions and want to be the best version of themselves. It starts, get you from A to point B as quickly as possible. I also have other coaching opportunities available. I have recipe ebooks and bone broth discounts, and you can check the links below to find those. Yes, and if you guys get any value from this podcast and you like this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. Anything that you sort of do to share this podcast really helps the podcast grow. We're trying to get it up the charts, so leaving an Apple review would be very appreciated. If you could possibly give that a bit of a click or a like would be great. And obviously, this podcast is brought to you and sponsored by Eternum Labs, and you can use the discount code Corey on eternumlabs.com.au to get a discount off of some high performance products, which is really cool. So guys, this podcast was absolutely epic. I can't wait to listen to it again myself. Yeah, guys, I really recommend tuning into this one, giving it a bit of a share, because this could really help some people. It's really inspiring. Someone as young as Morgan has been successful as Morgan, and is really chasing after the best version of themselves. So he leads a really awesome example. It's just absolutely great. So without further ado, guys, I'll see you on the inside, and I hope you like this podcast as much as me. This one was wild. So big love. See you then. Morgan, thanks so much for coming on to the show, man.
How you doing, brother? I'm so pumped to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. So what is something recently that you have learned that has just given you or others some value?
My God, with a fire question straight off the bat.
Boom.
Something I've learned lately. Oh my God. Look, one of the things I read a quote just over a year ago. I was kind of in this funny space of transitioning, being pulled one way and thinking I had to go another way. And I was literally standing in the kitchen, and I just read this quote, and it said something like, don't attach yourself to a company, attach yourself to a vehicle. Attach yourself to a mission and a vision, and you'll always find a way. And it was so interesting at that time, because I was so fixated in my vehicle at the time, which was solely just network marketing, but I was really being pulled in other ways to do more things. And I saw that, and I was like, I swear somebody made that quote for me. So I don't know if that's a learning, but for me, that was kind of like a big sign saying, stay on your journey to your vehicle, to your mission, your vision, and just sort of trust in the process, and things are always going to find its way. Because I think it's very easy to, I was talking to a friend today, she's a nurse, and she was complaining about her job, complaining. And I said to her, how much longer are you going to stay there for? She's like, I don't know. I said, what else would you rather do? And the only thing she could think of was nursing, still in a different space of the hospital. I'm like, yeah, but would you want to do anything outside of what's something you really want to do? If you had all the time, all the money in the world, what would you want to do? And she says to me, I really want to design wedding dresses. I said, wow, what would happen if you did that? And she started thinking of all these things. And I said, what do you need to do to start making that happen, right? So she's like, well, maybe I need to start learning and yada, yada, yada. So The thing is, so often when we're kind of in the problem, when we're in it, it's like we can't see anything else other than that, right? And it's very easy to kind of fall into this, we pick our vehicle or we're doing our thing. And it's like, we've got to hustle, 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 focus on the angle, focus on the angle. But sometimes that isn't actually what we're meant to be doing at that time, So that was a pretty big thing for me.
Oh man, I love that so much. And then obviously you've followed your dreams and your passions and made all these awesome things happen, which is great to see. You've been running Dream Out Loud, and I've been watching that in the background and that event. How did that go?
The 3-day event was fantastic, man. So that's something that's been in the work for a long time. Obviously, like I've been on the entrepreneur journey and self-development kind of space for about 7 years now. And I first found it when I was 21 years old. I was reckless. I was freaking drinking all the time, on drugs all the time, fighting all the time, like getting arrested, spending most weekends in lockup. And it was just hectic, And then I found all of this. And I was like, oh my God, like you're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Oh my God, like if you think something positive, your life will be positive. I was like, oh my God, I never knew this kind of stuff. I was like, this is profound. I was like, because all I'm thinking about right now is negative shit. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I kind of started finding all this stuff that I was like kind of pissed off that I was like, how come no one taught me this in school? They teach us algebra. They teach us to read about Atticus Finch. They tell us to read all this kind of shit. But there was never a class on how to be happy. There was never a class on how to find fulfillment. There was never a class on how to build wealth. If there was a wealth 1 and wealth 2 classes, I would have taken both. You know what I mean? I would have done that before I did art or whatever, right? So I kind of got fascinated about the fact of how come this wasn't taught in school. So I started going down the rabbit hole and learning as much as I could. And to this day, I've probably invested like well over $100,000 into myself now and actually put it to application. So it's not just learning. Otherwise it's shelf help, right? It stays on the shelf. And I created my dream life, what I think at 23 years old, created financial freedom. And then from then I started to reverse engineer it. And I was like, how have I done this? Like there was, you could just say, I did this or there's this. I'm like, how can I create the best framework on the planet to help people go from where they are to truly where they want to be, like their ideal life? And I'm not talking about just financially. I'm talking about joy, love, abundance, like, because not everybody has the goal to be a millionaire. And in fact, most people don't, but most people think they need to be because that's what society or teachings and stuff is all about. Them to really find their authentic self, like who were they born to be, not who were they taught to be, versus like through society and conditioning and modeling and behavior and all these kinds of things, people get molded to be a different kind of person, and then they live this incongruent life going, I'm not sure why I feel a little bit shitty. I'm doing, they wake up, they're 40 years old, I'm not sure why suddenly I just don't like, I'm in a relationship I don't want to be in. I'm not sure how I'm in here. It's because they start doing things differently who they think they should be, wearing masks all the time, and they forget who they really are inside. So I reverse engineer this thing. So in my head, I've been thinking about, like, I've been training parts of this event for years, teaching people how to create success using the vehicle network marketing. And then last year, that was the sort of confliction I had inside. It's like everything was pulling me to start doing my events. And I was like, what? We're in COVID right now. We're in lockdown every second week. Like, how can I start doing an events business now? And then within 2 weeks, I threw my first event. We had over 100 people there. I had some amazing speakers, like Joel Brown was there. We had some awesome other speakers here on the Gold Coast. And I was through this event and it was all well and done. I was like, people were going, when's the next one? I was like, I don't know. This kind of just accidentally happened. So I kept just going with my hunches. And then this year I was sitting in another personal development event and I felt like leaving on the first day because I was like, I don't need any more. Like, what I need to do is create my own now. It's time. So I started pulling everything in together. And then, we created the Dream Out Loud method. That's what it was. So it was a 2.5 day, fully transformational, fully immersive event where it's not just like teachings. It's not just like, here, let me teach you some shit. It's like the main thing. And what I pre-frame on the first part, it's like, I'm not here to fix anybody. Like, most people think they need to be fixed, and I'm not even here to teach you things. And people are like, oh, well, I paid all this money. I want to learn. Like, my goal is to help you unlearn, because I truly believe that everybody has, like, people are sitting there going, what's my passion? What's my purpose in life? It's like, I truly believe everybody already has it inside of them. The only reason they're not actuating on it and think they can do it is because they've got all this bullshit inside or that are stopping them from going and doing it, right? So my intention is to help them unravel all this crap, who they were taught to be, so they can discover who they were born to be and live an authentic life true to their mission, their purpose, right? So that's what it was, man. It was super freaking cool. We had 34 people, I think, in the room. First event, I was stoked with that. So next year is the next one. The goal is to get 50 and just keep this thing multiplying and truly just make a massive impact. So the messages and stuff I've been getting this week from people, like I knew it was going to be good, like, but then obviously it was my first event as well. I was like, oh, like I know it's going to be good because I've got a high standard, but it's probably going to be really shit as well. And then when I finished, I was like, that was really good. And everybody was like, that was insane. And then people were messaging me and stuff. And I'm like, damn, you know? So yeah, I'm pumped, man. It's, I'm on a good journey right now and doing some cool things. I'm excited about it.
Oh man, thanks for sharing that. I got like so into that story just then. I was like, whoa, this sounds so good. You've done awesome things, man. I'm super curious. Some of the things that you talk about and discuss when you mention like unlearning in the Dream Out Loud method. I'd love to talk about some of those points if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, well, the main thing is like, you know, let's start with negative emotions. The negative emotions as beliefs and values and it's an attitude towards life. Because here's the thing, there's a story of these monkeys, right? And not that I endorse tests done to animals in any way, but this is what happened, right? They got 6 monkeys, put them in a cage. And they put a ladder in the cage, and at the top of the cage, they put a ladder in there, and at the top of the ladder, they had a bunch of bananas. And as soon as one monkey would go up the ladder, they would scold the other monkeys. Okay? So every single time a monkey would go up the ladder, they would scold with water the other monkeys. So then eventually what would happen is every time a monkey went up the ladder, the other monkeys would beat the shit out of it because they know when you go up there, we get punished. So we're going to beat the shit out of you. So what happened is eventually there's 6 monkeys in the cage, ladder in the cage, and bananas, but no monkey will go up there and take the bananas. Then what the scientists did, they took one monkey out and put in a brand new monkey. The monkey goes up the ladder, and as soon as he starts going on the ladder, he gets the shit beaten out of him. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? So the monkey just conforms. The monkey just goes, okay, that's the way, okay, cool. And he chills. They switch out another monkey. Monkey comes in. They all beat the shit out of the monkey, including the first monkey that got switched. And he didn't know why, but he just joined in. Then they switched out every single monkey till eventually there was 6 brand new monkeys in there. Not one monkey had gone up the ladder, and not one monkey had been scalded with water. Very interesting. Then if you were to be able to ask the monkeys, how come you're not going after what you want? Then the bananas are right there. Why aren't any of you doing it? I'm assuming they would say to you, well, that's just the way things have always been done around here. We don't go after our dreams. It's just the way it is. And what happens is, a shitty thing is most people's success really does come down to the postcode in which they grew up in. Because if you grow up in a neighborhood, if you grow up in an environment with people that are telling you that you're a winner, you can have anything, you can go after anything, and they're pushing you. And when you try to quit, they're letting you know, like, hey, you're not a quitter. Like, come on, keep going. Like, how can you find more resources? How can you become more resourceful? How can you find another way? Then the chance of you becoming more successful are quite freaking high. But if you grow up in a neighborhood where as soon as you try to do something, you're shamed and blamed and criticized and made fun of, because if you try to go away from the pack and do something different or, you know, pursue your dreams, right? People are like, you can't do that, especially here in Australia, right? Like tall poppy syndrome stuff. It's hectic, man. And as soon as you try to do anything against the norm, people are cutting you down. So the main thing is, when the monkey went into the cage, the only thing they wanted was to get the bananas. It makes a logical sense to go, I'm going to move towards what I want. But most people have developed this behavior. Instead of moving towards what they want, they move away from what they don't want. So they would rather avoid pain than actually seek the thing they truly want in life. Now, this doesn't happen from a young age, because if you look at a kid, if you look at like a 4 or 5-year-old, and sometimes when I've run other events around the world, if there's kids in the room, I endorse that. I love it, because they are the biggest lessons for people, because you got all these adults, you got all these grown-ups sitting in the room, scared to even put up their hand and ask a question. But then you have a 4-year-old climbing all over the fucking stage, climbing up on the chair and doing whatever they want, not giving a shit. And then you get to look at the kid and be like, so at what age did you stop being adventurous? At what age did you start caring what other people thought? And at what age did you lose this sense of joy for exploring and just testing things, you know? So we're all born a miracle. Like 1 in 400 trillion chances to 1 of being born. That's the actual stat. So the fact that we're all here, I'm completely convinced that no one's here by accident. We're not here just to do basic shit. Most people believe they are, though. But the fact we are 1 in 400 trillion chances of being born, we're here by a complete purpose. It's a miracle, right? We're here to complete something. And I had this conversation with Les Brown. He was on my podcast a while ago. And I asked him, I said, Les, do you think everyone's here to live out their dreams? He said, it's the only reason we're here. He said, everyone's born. Everyone's born a miracle. Everyone's born with a dream, with a goal, with a passion, with a purpose, with a skill, with the talent. And it's up to us to bring it to life. And most people, based on the fears of society and the fears and the beliefs that they've created inside their head and the out of alignment values that they have internally, they don't go and live their dreams. Then what happens is they die one day, and guess what dies with them? All of their dreams, all of their goals, all of their talents, all their skills that they didn't bring to life. And they all came to us to bring them to life, and now they're going to die with us forever. I think it's the most selfish thing ever on our creator, on God or universe, source, whatever the belief is that you have. We're here for a reason, and it's like we're all individually given something. But what happens is whatever we don't use, we lose. Some people have the amazing skills when they're 15 years old. Some people develop their skills, their habits, their passions when they're 65 years old. And that's when it's meant to happen. But if we're not continually staying connected to our vision and aligned with our vision and doing what lights us up every day and living in a state of love and joy, then we're going to let these things fall by the wayside and just kind of die, right? So the thing is, with our environmental conditioning, that's what happens, right? So we're all born adventurous. We're all born with this incredible stuff inside. Somewhere along the way, the world teaches us, society teaches us, the people we surround ourselves with teaches us to play it small. Maybe you should just go get a job. Maybe you should just go get that, $50K a year job, get some college, uni debt, work you out the corporate ladder. Then when you turn 65, buy that caravan, drag it around Australia, and then you die. Or you get put into a nursing home 3 years later, because most people don't look after their health. And by 70, their body's deteriorating. Then you got 5 years of freedom. And then what do you got to live on? You got to live on your superannuation, the thing that the government set us up to say, this is what's going to support you, right? This is what's going to support you. Like what you've struggled to live on your whole life, now you're going to live on a portion of that until you die. So most people are sold into the dream. Work your life now. Do the things you need to do now to save up all this money. Then when you die, you get to have all this money. But most people don't actually stop to look at how much they actually have. Most people's superannuation is not much there at all. So then their retirement, their best years of their life, they're not that great anyway. Then we throw inflation into the mix and all this crazy shit. Most people are just delaying this and they're avoiding it because they want instant gratification. So if they can actually get clear on this and realize that there's going to be pain either way, there's going to be discomfort either way, and we choose, that's when we take full ownership of our life. Because most people are thinking, they're like, well, the reason I don't want to go and start that business now is because it's scary. The reason I don't want to talk to those people I should network with, because I don't know, because my parents always told me don't talk to strangers. I've had all this conditioning that it's fear. So they don't do what's uncomfortable now, but then in the future, they'll live a very uncomfortable life. So I always say to people, if you do what's hard now, life will be very easy. But if you do what's easy, life will be hard. I used to be a Muay Thai fighter, and my trainer used to say to me all the time, he's like, train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. So I'd be the hardest trainer in the gym. And when I'd fought, it was a walk in the park. Where most people are lazy through the training and then they fight for their life and they end up losing, right? So I would rather be putting in the hard yards now and living a life of total comfort and joy and peace and choice than struggling now, doing things I don't want to do just to struggle even more in the future. Most people don't think about it. So that's the thing, right? So our environment's a huge thing. Environment's a huge thing because this matters so much. This builds out our beliefs. This builds our values. And what I truly believe is, because we're talking about the right you, okay? So what I teach, the Dream Out Loud method is based on 4 pillars, right? 4 pillars of creating a dream life: the right environment, the right vehicle, the right timing, and the right you. So becoming the right you is about having the right values, the right beliefs, and the right attitude. And these come from the environment. That's why I always start with environment, right? But, the beliefs is just as simple as that. It's like, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right either way. But if you're in an environment that empower your beliefs, you can be more likely to actually do things, right? But if you're in an environment where, like the monkeys, where they beat the shit out of each other every time you try and do something different, then you get to start to develop this belief of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, I won't be loved, which is the most common fears and limiting beliefs that people have that stop them from having everything. It's just wild. What I say to people is, there's 4 things you must believe. So in order to have everything you want, so I reverse engineer this thing, right? It's like everybody wants this lifestyle, right? Everyone wants a lifestyle. Say, sweet, I want this kind of lifestyle. It looks like this, it feels like this, sounds like this is what's happening. So in order to have this lifestyle, I must get a certain result. Here's the result I need. It's $1 million a year. It's $500,000 a year. It's this, it's that, it's this job, it's this relationship, it's this house, it's this traveling. That's the result I need. Okay, let's go one step backwards. What do I need to do to get this result? I need to take action. I need an action plan, right? Then most people just start there and they think there. So sweet, I'm going to take action, because people always say, take massive action, right? Take massive action. I'm going to get a result. Then I've got what I want, right? But there's one step before that, which is the philosophy that drives the action. Now, if the philosophy is wrong, if the philosophy is like, oh, well, actually, I believe you can take action, but I don't believe you're worthy of holding it, then it's going to be this back and forth, self-sabotaging. And this doesn't happen consciously, because if it happened consciously, we'll have what we want. It happens unconsciously. And people take an action for 5 years doing the same thing over and over, and they go, why am I not where I want to be yet? I read all the books, I did all the work. It's all this unconscious stuff happening, and that's what we get to bring out in the event, right? But the philosophy comes down to the right beliefs, the values, the attitude. Okay. So we work on the beliefs, but then the values are super important. Like the values is literally just what is most important to us in our life. And everyone's got different values. So this is why I think it's so stupid that people look on social media and compare their life to somebody else, because that person who has the Ferrari, that has the G-Wagon, that has that 10 out of 10 model that's living in Greece, right? If, would hope they're living a life to their values, we would hope so, right? Like they might not even be. They might be actually miserable, taking this photo with their boo in Greece and being like, this isn't me. I don't like this. I actually want to be in a polyamorous relationship and have 10 wives. Like who knows, right? And but most people compare their lives, and they're not looking at their own values to go, well, what's important to me? What's my value? Because that's what it is. Like, so somebody who values something of freedom and safety, if that's the 2 highest values, they're going to live a totally different life to someone who values adventure and fun, right? It's like one person's going to be like, I just want to be just with my partner and have like some freedom and safe and whatever. And the other person might be like, I want to bungee jump and I want to have 10 wives and I mean polyamorous relationships and crazy shit, right? They both live totally different lives. But if they're not aware of what's important to them, but they're copying somebody else because they're comparing themselves on social media and they're looking, well, Bob's got this, that's what the life is, right? That's what I should be doing. Then they get there and they're like, this sucks. That's what happens. People make all this money, they just laugh and like, I'm not where I want to be yet, right? It's because they're living a life out of their values. And then the third part is having the right attitude. Is simply this. If people only get one thing from it, it's this, because with this kind of attitude, you can create anything. There's 3 kinds of people. The first person sits and they complain about the wind. Okay, they're sitting and they see other people's boats moving in the direction that they want to go, and they go, oh my God, poor me. If only my boat went in that direction as well. If only the wind was blowing in my favor like it blew for them. Right? And there's complaint and they're a victim, okay? The second person, they just hope that the wind will change. They're sitting there, they're meditating, they got the crystals in alignment, they're meditating every full moon that comes around, they're on the beach, they're doing a meditation, they're visualizing, they're hoping, but then they're not taking any action. And they're kind of in like this denial of going like, oh, I just hope it'll change. I'm going to keep doing the same thing I've always done and just hope maybe one day it'll get better, right? Definition of insanity. And third person, they just get up and they change their fucking sails because they're like, it's not working for me. I don't like this. I'm going to take control. I'm going to take responsibility from exactly where I am, where I want to go, and what's happening in my life right now, because I'm the only person who's going to get me there. And if people just start to embody the third type of attitude, they'll figure out everything else. Because this person becomes resourceful. They're not looking for resources. They become resilient. And yeah, that's a big part of becoming the right you.
Yeah, well, Morgan, You are a stud. That was awesome, man. Thanks for diving into all of that. That was absolutely fantastic. For people who are like on a part of their, their life, when they've started to sort of have maybe a little bit of success, they started to get a little bit of momentum. What would you encourage them to do to start investing in themselves in order to take things to like the next level?
Yeah, well, they need a coach. They need a coach. They need a coach, a mentor. Like currently right now, I've got 3 different coaches, right? And just because different parts. And I believe in having the best person in my corner. I've even got like a really great chiropractor. Right? I call him a 4th coach because when I go see him, he's my coach, helping me just have a completely healthy, aligned body. He helps my body work properly. And he doesn't just work on my spine. He's like playing with my legs some days and doing the stuff just to make sure that my body's perfect, Gary. But most people are afraid to invest themselves for numerous reasons. It can even come down to not even believing that they're good enough for it. But the more you invest in yourself, the more you believe you are good enough. But everybody should absolutely start with having a coach because you get to learn. You get to learn from someone who's done what you want to do. It's the fast way to success. It really is. Like when I want to learn anything, I find someone who's doing what I want to do, and they're doing better than I even thought I could do at it. And I pay them. I say, "Here's some money. Teach me how to do what you've done, and I should be able to do what you've done in a short amount of time." Right? If you're the real deal, then that's what I'm going to do. So it's about having a coach, having an accountability. But I always say to people, especially in the world right now, crypto is a thing, right? Crypto, everyone's talking about crypto. And this is also another thing of having a conversation with a friend yesterday. They're like, I was like a bit irritable. So I was like, there's so much happening right now, and I'm not sure where to invest. It's like and then somebody was they're talking about NFTs and Bitcoin's going up and Ethereum and metaverse and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. But if you just, know your values, your goal, your vision, and you take action what's accordingly inside of your vision, you'll always be in joy. Because when you start to look outside of that, and you're like, well, what's Bob doing? Bob might have a different investment strategy. He might have a different plan altogether. Like I've got people that have made a heap of money on crypto. For me, like I'm now investing a lot. And literally right before this call, I was like, I'm YouTubing lots of things in like the metaverse coins and exciting space. But that excites me, right? But if it's not exciting people, it brings anxiety and brings like this, I'm missing out sort of thing. So what I always say to people is the best thing to always invest in is yourself. Like you are your largest asset, right? Like there could be people here sitting here with like $5,000 in their bank, $1,000 in the bank, like whatever. Or somebody have 50 or $100,000 in the bank. Whatever you have is like the first thing you should be investing in is you, building you as the asset. Like I've invested, I said, over 6 figures into myself. So far, I've invested more money in myself than I've put anywhere else. But I'm the asset. I'm someone you can pick me up and drop me anywhere, and I'll create income. I'll create an environment. I'll create a movement. I'll create go-getters. I'll create shit happening wherever I am because I've built that person. So I'm this asset that can go anywhere and just get shit happening now. Right? But I was not that person 5, 6, 7 years ago. Right? The only thing I could do, pick me up 7 years ago, I'd probably start a fight with somebody, right? And, so it's really come back to investing inside of yourself, but like, and you can never go wrong. So picking a coach, having a mentor, getting into the right, seminar, like, that's why I have my events. I make them super affordable for people because it's just like, if you're kind of lost, just go there and you'll figure something out. Like things just come alive in full immersed events like that, right? Like I've gone to so many. I've literally probably been to 50 or 60 like full-time like events, right? Like fully immersed events. And just because every time I'm at one, I just figure something else out. I'm like, oh my God, or I just get this clarity. And so that's my first thing, investing in yourself there in yourself, in your personal brand. Okay, I'm gonna cover a few things here. Okay, so investing in yourself, in your mindset and your emotional intelligence should be number one. Number two should be in your personal brand. Because the bigger your brand is, the more people like your Wicked podcast, right? How much has your influence, your credibility, and your authority grown since having your podcast grow?
Yeah, skyrocketed for sure.
Right. And then people now look at you and they're like, this guy's the man. Like, cause he's the guy giving the information. He's bringing on the guest. Then you get to collaborate with other speakers. And then people see you next to these amazing speakers. And it's like, oh my God. Like, so you start to position yourself better. The more of a brand you have, the more people. And the only reason Kanye West or Jay-Z are so famous is because a lot of people know them. That's it. Just because if a lot of people know you, you're a celebrity, right? And if a lot of people know you, you have influence, and if you have a lot of influence, you can make a lot of money. So people right now that are like, I'm not sure what I want to do, double down on your personal brand. Like double down on your personal brand. Start building your Instagram, right? Start building, like my favorite things right now is Instagram and podcasting. So that's why I have a course that helps people build a successful podcast. Because it's like, since I've built mine, I've been able to create multiple new income streams. I've been asked to speak on stages, collaborate with amazing people. Like it's a game changer. And so in doubling down on your personal brand, you start building your influence, building your audience. And then let's say if somebody has the interest in, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and he's a real estate agent and he's into high performance in the personal growth. It was at my event. And he says like, I'm making good money in real estate, but I want something else on the side. And I said to him, I said, could you start building an audience and a brand and become the go-to guy that gets real estate agents better results? He's like, yeah. He's not young. He's 24 and he's killing it in real estate, right? He's like, yeah, I could. I was like, could you package into like a little course or something? Your 10 tips, 10 ways to amplify your results as a real estate agent, as a young real estate agent. Could you give them a morning routine? Could you give them mindset things? Could you give them visualization things, like how to goal set, how to actually work numbers, how to attack the day, how to be a high productive person, things like this, right? So what if you started to build an audience and you start putting out free value like that for Instagram or a podcast? And then that might open up so many doors for you. You might get asked to speak on stages, collaborate with other people. People might want to sign you as their real estate agent now because just of the audience that you can bring, right? There's the guy, his name's Ryan, somebody in America, in New York. He's got this huge YouTube channel. He's a real estate agent, but he's a celebrity real estate agent just because he's built a YouTube channel. Yeah, people know about him. It's like, and Gordon Ramsay, he's just a chef.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking chef, man. But he's just like, I'm going to teach people about this shit that I like, cooking. I'm going to teach a lot of people for a long time. And people are like, oh my God, it's celebrity, right? So imagine if you started to talk about the things you love and the things you're good at and the things you're passionate about. You started to put free value out there to find other people that are also like you that want to learn it. And eventually you'll be able to get paid for it. And that's your ikigai, which is what the Japanese say is your purpose, how you live longer, live a joyful, happy life. Find what you like, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Merge them all together and you have something incredible. So invest in your personal brand. And then I'm not going to give crypto advice because I'm definitely not the guy for it. But, investing advice for young people, especially. How old are you, Corey?
Almost 30.
Almost 30. So you got a lot of young listeners on the show?
Yeah, there is a few, yeah.
Yeah. So here's something I wish I knew. Well, here's something I wish I did when I was younger. I knew it because I had a multi-millionaire stock investor. She owned her own brokerage and stuff in New York. Big author and shit. She came and met me here in Australia. I was about 22. And she said, Morgan, big New York accent. Morgan, I could tell you got to do this. And she started telling me to start investing in index funds. And I was like, what is this? And she started doing these figures and numbers. And at the time, I literally just thought, I don't have enough money to be an investor. I thought you need a lot of money to invest. And I was like, it's not even for me. I can't do it. It's not for me. But what I realize now is index funds pretty much invest across the top 500 best companies. So like if I just look at like Vanguard, this is my favorites. Vanguard Australia, Vanguard US. Super simple investing. If somebody under the age of 25, right, if they get $25,000 invested in an index fund by the age of 25 and they stop investing for the rest of their life, they didn't put anything else in there, not another dollar. Based on the last 100 years of statistics, that $25,000 will compound to about $1.3 million by the time they're 65 years old. And then compare that to your superannuation.
Right? Fuck your super.
Right? Right? And it'll pay you a dividend, which is an annual, sometimes two times a year, payout of around 6 to 9%. Everything's different of how much money you got invested. So if you got $1 million in there and you let's just make it 7%, you get paid a dividend that year of $70,000. So not only do you have all this money in the bank, but you're actually getting a passive income stream for having the money invested that will continually multiply over the years to come. Now, if you're over 25, you're like, shit, what about me? It's okay. You can still start, but the earlier you start, the better, because it's going to start to compound over and over and over. So if people are, just super simple kind of investing stuff, it's like, that's just the safest place to start putting some stuff, putting like $100 a week away You don't have to have a lot to start. In the beginning, I absolutely could have put one or two, or at that time, even $400 or $500 a week away, but I thought it wasn't enough. But never underestimate, the small, tiny bits I just put away and that compound over and over and over. Because if I had started when I was 22, I would have had a lot of money in there now, but I've only started like the last couple of years, especially through the crash last year, woke me up and I was like, this is some interesting stuff here. So I've started paying a lot more attention. So they're the three places I'd be investing: completely in yourself, personal brand, and just putting some money in safe shares and stocks like that.
Yeah, I'd love to add on to that. I think I was reading a Warren Buffett quote, and it's something that he said to his wife, obviously world's best investor. And he just said to her, he's like, when I die, just take all of my money and put it in an index fund.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that is some absolute solid advice right there. And thanks for sharing that, man. Because I think, a lot of people don't, they're sort of, just from the upbringing that I've had and stuff. And I'm not sure if you can relate, but getting brought up in certain communities and stuff, is it's just not talked about. There's the whole financial literacy. It's just like, there's not like a whole lot of communication around it. Like I remember my mum used to say, oh, people would, talking about money, everyone go, ooh, like not allowed to talk about who, what's making how. It's like, why not? I got told off when I was a kid for asking, oh, how much money did you make for this? You're like, oh, you're not allowed to ask that to people. It's rude. Like, why?
I love it. I speak to all my friends, like, how much do you get that for? How much do you put in? Wow, that's amazing. And we celebrate each other. But it's I always say to people, it's like two things that I think, like, prove me wrong here, arguably probably the most important things in the world is sex and money, right? It's like the person you decide to be with for the rest of your life, be intimate with, the quality of the sex, right? Because if you're dating someone like 25 years old and you're going to be with them for the rest of your life, but you're not invested in having great sex, there's going to be a shit miserable life. Like, come on, let's just be honest, right? And then money, how you make your money, how much you make, like, they're very important things. And some people are like, money's not everything. I'm not saying it's everything, but it's up there with oxygen, right? If you've got more money, you've got more choices. That's all it is. And money does not make you happy. However, lack of money will make you unhappy. That's an important thing for people to know, that. Because money doesn't make you happy. Yeah, it amplifies who you are. So if you're a shit miserable person now, don't look at that to make you happy. However, but if you set the goal to become a millionaire, the person you must become in order to make the $1 million will make you happy. That's the thing that nobody talks about. So I think the two most things that are important in the world is sex and money, but the two things that are not taught the most or talked about. Yeah. So very fascinated on both topics. I've done deep dives into both and just learning, like, how can I become great at both of these, right? It's like it's important things. I think they flow in. Like if one of those two areas are lacking, it's going to show up in other areas of your life. Everything's touching everything.
Oh, man, couldn't agree more. I think that's quite beautiful. Personally, what are some of the biggest, I'm just curious, what are some of the biggest hurdles or roadblocks that you've had to overcome?
Me?
And the lessons you learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said recently.
Yeah, recently. So biggest, it's always me, Is it like, it's not a matter of things. It's just a matter of who I've got to become. I've got to up level more. The biggest hurdle, I guess, just confliction I had, hardest decision I had to ever make in my life was the start of last year. I was with my partner, and we were together for 3 years. We were best mates for 3 years before that. So we had a really awesome relationship. And then I just realized, I was like, I'm not 100% in this. Not 100% in this. And for some reason, we're going into another year. And I was like, if I haven't figured it out now, if I'm not 100% in now, and I'm not saying I have to propose only 3 years in. However, I believe you should probably know if that's the person you probably get married or not 3 years in, right? Like, you can wait for 10 years if you like, but it's like, how much more do you have to wait? I need a little bit more convincing. Come on, be honest, So she was all the way in. She's like, I want to get married. And I was like, fuck. So I had to make the decision. It's like, for some reason, I'm not all the way in. And this is very unfair for me to keep dragging her along while I figure out my shit when she's all the way in and that's what she wants. And I'm wanting something different. So I had to make the decision to end it. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was horrible. It's like to break up with somebody that you're still in love with, and barely have a reason. She's like, where did this come from? Why? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just confused as well. but I know this is the right decision to make. Like I just knew to my core, this is the right decision. And I knew that our next journey together is done separate. And she's going to go a different direction. I'll go a different direction. I just knew that intuitively. It's just, it came. I was like, fuck. So I do that. That was really hard. And then that brought up so much shit last year that I had to learn about myself, which the biggest thing was because I started questioning. I was like, what I'm like, I know that the world's happening for us. I know everything is happening for us, not happening to us. So whenever I kind of get weirdly excited when a big life altering decision has to be made. You're the same?
No,
right? Yeah. Like if something like you probably would have done the same, like moving up to the Gold Coast, it's like there would have been discomfort in that, but so weirdly excited as well. Cause it's like, I just know that nothing huge like this can happen without something awesome happening after. Like it just has to happen. Like I just truly believe it's like a big life altering decision isn't going to happen and then shit happen. You know what I mean? Or even if it does, it's not going to stay there because it's going to learn. It's going to be there to teach you. So I just thought that as well. I was like, kind of got to be excited for the growth that was going to happen after. But the unfortunate thing is sometimes you don't know, you don't get your lesson for a while. So I was like, I might get the lesson today. I might get it in 10 years. I'm just going to be patient for that. But I know it's going to make sense eventually. Thankfully, it only took a few days because I was asking myself, I was like, why am I not all the way in here? Where's this coming from? And the answer that came up was because I asked, I was like, why can't I fully love her as much as she loves me? And the answer that came up was because you don't love you. And I was like, what do you mean I don't love me? I'm confident. Right? And for so long, I masked confidence with self-love because I thought self-love was just like mushy shit for girls. They sit on the beach and sing and touch their hearts and stuff. And I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. Like, I'm great. I'm confident. Got stuff going on, yeah. But what it was is very easy to deflect the things inside of me. You know, when people, and what started to become very noticeable when, you know, I got asked to speak on stage in front of 6,000 people. I was recognized as the top income earner for my whole company under the age of 25. And everyone's like, well done. Like, that's a pretty big milestone. I was like, yeah, like, whatever. Deflecting all these things that people were trying to actually give me appreciation and love. I was like, nah, it's nothing. It's nothing. And I wasn't letting anything actually come in because I still didn't think it was good enough. And this is like the achiever mindset. And there's probably people listening to this, oh my God, I do this as well. It's like, it's very easy to mask it with confidence and be like, yeah, it's good, instead of actually being in and this and doing things for ourselves. It's such a powerful thing. So that taught me that straight away because I was like, well, of course, yeah, I can't, that whole cliche thing, I think it's probably one of the first things in self-development I ever heard. You can't love someone until you fully love yourself. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. Work on me. I thought it was just personal development stuff, right? It was a whole different kind of ball game. And so that was the big thing that taught me last year. And what actually happened was I was still stuck in the mindset of the more I do, the more I'll be successful. And last year I just changed my mantra to the less I do, the more I make. I swear, man, the last 12 months, I felt lazy compared to the 12 months prior. And I'm making way more. Like I just remember my account yesterday, actually. I made more money in the last 2 months than I did an entire year prior. Actually, all of last year, I made more money in the last 2 months than I did all of last year.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And I'm doing a lot less because I'm just focused on what I love and focused on what I'm good at. I'm having a lot of fun. You know, I'm not bust my ass going, I've got to do this. I'm like, I'll do it if I feel like it, you know, and it's a very interesting thing. So that's probably for sure my biggest hurdle, I think, just myself and my own shit and figuring that kind of stuff out.
Yeah, I like that. Getting out of like sort of the have to hustle, get in a stress state sort of mindset and you know, really just focusing on your vision and your mission, which is, you know, a result of all the work you've done. And I like to just relate some of the things that you said is, you know, those real big events that you talk about that happen in your life and like also getting excited. I believe they're like real good initiation periods in a life, which I think is always quite fantastic. And I loved how you talked about people receiving, because there's quite a lot of people that I work with who like suffer, I hate the terminology, but imposter syndrome. And you just like explain that like perfectly in your story for overcoming it. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say huge thank you for coming on to the show, man, and sharing all of this stuff. For people who are sort of in a position to start making a move, because we've talked about a whole lot of stuff, just sort of some simple things like next action steps for people to take, like just like small tangible things. What do you think is really important for them to sort of get started to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, two major things is the first one is that they've got to have a powerful vision. Most people think they need motivation. They don't need motivation. They need inspiration. They don't need to be motivated. They need to be actually inspired about who they are and where they're going in life. See, most people just kind of get stuck and they feel lost, and they have uncertainty and all this kind of stuff because they don't have a powerful, compelling, fulfilled vision of their future. Because once again, we don't get taught this, right? But it's like if you get inside of a Ferrari and you're like, oh my God, I got this Ferrari. This is amazing. It's my new car. And people go, where are you going? You say, I don't know. Like, are you actually going to drive the Ferrari? Maybe. But you might even sit there and just go, well, I don't even know where I'm going to go, so I don't want to drive anywhere. But then let's just say you're seeing a Ferrari and so I'm going to give this thing a go. And you're afraid to leave your neighborhood because you're like, oh, I don't want to get lost. I don't know where I'm going to go. So I'm just going to keep driving this amazing Ferrari around the block. See the same shit I've seen for the last 20 years, right? So people need a powerful vision. But if you want to go, then if you become aware of, oh my God, there's this place called Sydney. And I'm going to put Sydney in my GPS, in my Ferrari, and I'm going to fucking hightail it there. I'm going to break every speed limit there. It's like, you'll have so much fun. And if you want to stop and go off the road for a second and check something out, you'll just enjoy it because you're like, I still know where I'm going ultimately, and I'm going to get there when I get there. So right now, I want to check out Port Macquarie. I just want to check this out. It looks cool, and that's the flow. You get to go with the flow and enjoy the journey. Most people are focused on the happiness, right? Most people are focused on this pursuit of happiness. When I get there one day, I'm pursuing happiness, and they forget about the happiness in the pursuit. And if they just slow down for a second, know that they're going to get there, have faith, have trust that's actually happening, just enjoy the journey, they go enjoy it a lot more. So having powerful vision is very, very important because like if me and you are standing in a room and I say, I want you to run a straight line to that side of the room as fast as you can go. You're just going to go. And then I throw a chair down in front of you without telling you. What do? You
can jump over it.
You jump over it, you go around it, you throw it out of the way, you do whatever you do. And you just 1 second, thought, get rid of it, keep going, right? Because you knew your end goal. And when we know our end goal, when we know our vision, we use our own problem-solving skills to figure out a way. You didn't stop to go, hey, why is the chair here? Should I do something? I need help, guys. You're just like, move. Sweet, gone. I'm going to keep going now. But let's reframe for a second. Exact same room. I say, run a straight line anywhere in this room you want. Go. And you go, well, where should I go? I said, you're a smart man. You got yourself all the way from Adelaide to the Gold Coast. Figure it out. And you go, okay. And then you kind of just start dawdling. I'm going to go this way. Now throw a chair down in front of you. What do?
Same thing.
You'll come to a massive stop.
Oh, yeah.
Or you'll turn, you'll go another direction. See, in each situation though, the same obstacle is the exact same obstacle. Then the second time without a vision and without clarity of where you're going, the obstacle became the problem and it stopped you or talked you out of it and you went another direction. And that's what people do in their whole life. They've got no clear, they don't have clarity. And most people are like, well, that's my problem. I don't have clarity. How do I close your eyes? Think about if I had all the time, all the money in the world, what's my purpose? What's my passion? What do I like doing? If I could just create a masterpiece right now on a canvas and just paint my ideal life, what does that look like? What does that feel like for me? What does that sound like? Who's around me? What am I doing? And just create it without the judgment. And just actually create that, put that down. And then most people go to the critical brain and go, well, how can I do that? That's not your job to figure out. It's not your job. Your job is to know exactly where you're going and take massive action there. The how will figure itself out along the way. I will share this funny story. I lived in Bali for a couple of years, and me and my partner, we went to one of the other islands. There's this new resort opened on the island. It was gorgeous. It was like a 5-star resort. It's pretty expensive. It was like $600-$700 per night. And this is in Indonesia, right? So it was a balling place. First week it opened. So we went there. We're like, it's going to be gorgeous. A week away, snorkeling, diving, shit. Staying on this overlooking the Indonesian Ocean, like clear water, coral out to the back. So you can walk off the back and dive off and be in the coral straight away. It's gorgeous. And one by one, things start to just break or happen in our room or in the resort. And because it was the opening week, so I was super chill. I was just like, I don't complain about anything, but I'd like to give people the heads up because they might meet somebody who does like to complain. They'll ruin their day, right? So one of the problems was I walked into the bedroom and I slipped over because the bath was actually leaking out of the bathroom out to the lounge room. There's water in the middle of the lounge. I slipped over. What the fuck? And I was like, oh my God, they've got a hectic water leak here. I better let them know. So I let them know. We're going down to dive. And I said, hey, by the way, just heads up, there's a huge water leak in our bedroom. I don't know if you need to like fix it or like just heads up, like, every time we have a shower, it's going to leak. Like it could be an old person that goes in the next, And they go, oh, so sorry, they fix it. They come back up and they say, we're going to change your rooms. Right? And I said, okay, bit of a nightmare, having to pack everything back up, change rooms again. I said, I just would have put a towel down. It's all good. Change rooms. Okay, beautiful. Then we move in and all we want to do this night, we got the room with the big TV, we want to do a Netflix night and all this stuff. We get in there and none of it worked. I was like, oh my God. And then next minute, they're like, oh, we can change your rooms again. It's at 9:30 at night now, trying to figure it out because they had all these technicians come up and all this stuff, right? All these things were going wrong. And we're like, don't worry. It's all good. It's too late now. I don't even care about TV. We got a tour tomorrow. Go on the tour. We come back from the tour and they came down to us. And I said to my partner, I said, there was one more thing that went wrong, but I forget what it was. But I said to my partner, I said, there's been a lot of things screw up for them in this week. We've paid a lot of money and this is their opening week. I'm going to manifest them giving it to us for free. I said, we're going to get the stay for free, but I'm not going to complain. Because if I complain, I was an asshole. Of course, I could probably get a discount at least, right? I was like, I'm not about that. I'm just going to put it out. I'm going to create what I want. So I can manifest anything I want, and so can you. You can create the vision. So it's manifest. When I leave here, I'm imagining the manager meeting me. Morgan, we're so sorry. Here's a refund or something like that, right? So they come down to us. We're at the pool. They come down to us and they're like, Mr. Morgan, we're so sorry about all the mistakes. The resort would like to offer, and I'm thinking, oh, they're going to give it to us free already. We'd like to offer you and your partner a seafood buffet tonight on the beach, all inclusive in the hotel. I'm like, wow, like this is great. Let's do it. So then we go down and I'm not even that mad. I was like, I'll take this free seafood buffet, all you can eat, cocktails, everything. That night, I got seafood poisoning. I'm in my room. I'm sick. I've never been so sick in my life, man. My cold sweats. I was destroyed. We're calling the resort. We're like, yo, I need help, man. I'm fucking dying here. Because we're on this little island and it takes the doctor. There's like one doctor on the island. It takes like 1 or 2 hours to get to me. He gets to me. I feel like I'm dying. Puts me in an IV drip. Fixes me out. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I'm sick, man. Like I'm vilely ill. And so the next morning we're to check out. And I walk up like an old fragile guy in pain. And I'm like, still not complaining. Here's the keys. It was an amazing stay. Look forward to coming back. And they said, Mr. Morgan, we're so sorry. This whole stay is completely on us. We're not going to charge you a single dollar for everything. So I was like, thanks. If I knew that was how I was going to get it, I might have thought differently. So be careful what you wish for. Be really serious about what you want. You have crystal clarity on what you want. Know that you can create anything you want, but then just have the attitude to roll with the punches and accept all offers. Story, like I'm fine. For me, it was a fantastic story, but most people are like, oh, it's ruined my life. Like, no, just don't make a story up about it, man. Like, just chill. So most people think they have to control the how. You do not have to control the how. If you think on exactly what you want and where you want to go and you just take action there, right? And it's going to happen, okay? So that's the biggest thing, man. They need to have a crystal clear vision. Because otherwise they get lost, they get stuck. And then the next most important thing is the environment. They get themselves in an environment of people that support them, that they get encouraged and they get cheer them on. Get around people that support you and encourage you, where you get around people where you're celebrated, not just tolerated. And you'll start to win and have more success in life.
Well, Morgan, man, you've said I think I was counting and I got to about 1,332 quality pieces of nuggets throughout that podcast. That was really good, man. And that was awesome. You shared some absolute wisdom and you're so open with everything. That was great. And some of those stories were absolutely fantastic, man. So Dude, a huge thank you for coming on. And for the listeners, where can they find you if they want to find out more? Come to the Dream Out Loud events and see what like all the things you've got to offer.
Yeah, thank you, man. My podcast is called Dream Out Loud. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, go anywhere. It's got heaps of nuggets there. You guys will really, really enjoy it. It's just straight value. And then Instagram at Morgan T. Nelson. Just hit us up there. Send me a DM if you have any other questions from this episode. I'm always replying to people's DMs, and I just want to give value. And we have actually just started a new Instagram purely for like the podcast and the events and stuff, just called Dream Out Loud Family. So people can hit us there as well. But if you follow us on Instagram, you hit the bell notifications for my stories, you're never going to miss anything that's actually happening. New episodes are coming out and the event stuff. So the next event is actually March 18th to 20th next year. It's going to be fucking wicked.
Oh, man, pumped. So, man, you are like king of all the studs. Thanks for all the wisdom. And man, just thanks for coming on and sharing. Good vibe.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the work you're doing, the value you're putting out for people as well. It's wicked to see.
Yeah, we're out here.